Recently I have been playing a monster catcher roguelike game that's on early access, and I wanted to share some of my thoughts about it with you guys. Aethermancer is a game developed by Morai Games, the same developers of Monster Sanctuary, a Metroidvania monster catcher game. And the first glaring improvement over their last game is their combat and leveling system. But first let me explain why I'm comparing the last game with this new one. Aethermancer is not a direct sequel from Monster Sanctuary, but they share some of the elements, syntaxes, monster types, and some of the bases for the combat system. And also both of them are one of the best monster catcher games I've ever played, and they are focused on 3 versus 3 system of battles, which relies much more on each individual monster doing a specific role instead of your regular 1 versus 1 where you focus most on damage to keep the fights clean. While I can maybe safely say that I currently love Monster Sanctuary more than Aethermancer, because obviously Monster Sanctuary is a finished game, it's a Metroidvania with a lot of exploration, little secrets to uncover, over 100 monsters, there's a lot on that game. Aethermancer seems like a really promising game, and the combat is chef kiss, is far superior from Monster Sanctuary. Aethermancer really manages to improve on the things they choose to keep from the last game, building your monsters and testing your metal in combat. Sounds dramatic, right? But honestly, I think they struck gold with Aethermancer here. Whereas Monster Sanctuary had a slow RPG progression through a leveling system going from level 1 to 42 by the end of the game, taking at least some 30 hours for the faster players, Aethermancer focused on a fast-paced runs, a la roguelike fashion, taking not more than 2 hours to go through everything. And actually guys, I'm curious to know, how long does it usually take for you to beat your monster catcher game? It doesn't matter if it is Pokemon or any of these other indie monster catcher games. 2 hours of fast-paced, turn-based action, if those terms can even be mixed together. And the synergy of your team actually dictates what types of level up options you get while your monsters level up. Me and my friend, while we were playing our separate runs, we noticed that the skills and attacks and traits that are available for our monsters while we level up is totally dependent on the composition that we have on our team. And this was also told to us on the tutorial, but you can clearly feel that if you have 2 monsters and you switch the third, you already feel a different build coming together as you level up. So it really incentivizes you to try different monsters. This opens the room for so many different strategies and replayability. And the fast-paced, early-to-end game makes it so you experience your build really fast, and if you committed a mistake, you can go and try again, you know, you feel compelled to keep trying, because you can rectify your mistakes on the next run, and you can try again and see if you can improve on your pace, on your strategies, on the synergy of your composition. But since it's a roguelike game, the structure of the level design here is more oriented towards just placing those points of interest, and I think compared to other more campaign-oriented games that we have on the monster catcher genre, like the previous Monster Sanctuary or Pokemon games, obviously the exploration side of the game leaves a lot to desire. I usually like using Bartol's 4 types of players definitions. He classified the players in 4 different types as killers, socializers, explorers, and achievers. And I like using those terms to sometimes analyze what types of sections in the game actually fills what type of roles, you know? And I think, while Aethermancer is really good with the killer and achiever side, it leaves a lot of room for the social and exploration side. And that's fine, because this game feels like a laser-focused version of those monster catcher games. Instead of having the whole broad game to explore, adventure, and level up and improve your team, this one is focused on grabbing a team, doing a fast run, seeing if your build works, and trying again the next time. Now for the combat, which is my favorite part about this game, you have your special attacks like any other monster catcher game, but this one is a little bit different. It reminds me a lot of the trading card games that you use mana for actually attacking, but this one has different types of mana, 5 types of mana. It's called Aether in this game, and you can have your regular water, earth, wind and fire Aether, and you will also have the wild Aether, and different skills will require a different combination of Aethers, and also the attacks that use, for example, fire Aether will have the fire element, and obviously if a monster has a weakness to fire, you can use that to your advantage. Different monsters will produce specific Aethers, and as you level up you might get more traits focusing on generating Aether. There's also an attribute called Poise. Each enemy monster has a set amount of Poise. It means if they get damaged by their elemental weakness or by something that damages their Poise, they might be staggered once that gets to 0. This will prevent most monsters from acting and leaves them open to be captured or recorded so you can later call them to your team. And the attacks you pick, as I said before, will be influenced based on the monster composition that you have. And also the roguelike element makes it so you can't really pick your team perfectly. Sometimes you will have to adapt to what you have available at the time, and this makes it so you try out new different builds and you actually get to test them. In other monster catchers, and especially in Monster Sanctuary, in other monster catchers, trying out new builds used to be really slow because even if you could catch the monster on a higher level, it usually would come with negative effects and you would still have to do a lot of work to actually get that monster to level that your main team has, right? But in this game it's just a run, so you can try it until you die or until you beat it, and if you want to test if you can do it better, you can just come and do a new run. So it actually works perfectly with what the game is trying to do. And the visuals, oh my god, I'm a sucker for pixel art, and the visuals in this game are really amazing. I really love them. The visual on the monsters, and I would say obviously it leaves you wanting more and more animations, but the animations you have already, they are pretty cool. Obviously you have the exploration on the map, but when you get into the battles, oh my god, this is where the game really shines. I think the monsters and the attacks and the effects they choose, it's really good and I really like the potential that it seems to have. And also the monsters are not only interesting, but their design actually conveys what they do. So you can look at a monster and actually realize, oh, this monster looks like a tank, like a healer, he looks like he can cause poison. So there is a really good sense of design, not only on the silhouette of the monster, but also trying to convey the role that he will perform on your team. And talking about the roles, this game follows a very classic set of roles that we are used to see, like the tank, the support, the damage dealer, the buff, the support doing buffs for the party or debuffs for the enemy. So we have this very classic set of roles, and some of them are more unorthodox, but we did have them on Monster Sanctuary, like the sidekick function, which is a type of monster that usually attacks when other monsters are attacking. Those syntaxes and rules and behaviors actually composes a really good feeling that when your build actually works and you start seeing different attacks trigger different chain reactions and you start doing a lot more damage just because you have a good team composition, it is really satisfying. And lastly, the other feature that sets it apart from most of other monster catchers that at least I have played is that your trainer, or the one you are controlling, right, the player character, he can actually act on when your turn, and he doesn't waste any of the monster turns. You will usually use him to either heal, use one equipment you have that maybe really acts in synergy with your build, So it's a really interesting composition to this whole battle and leveling system. But right now, the game is on early access and the content can be quickly devoured. Both me and my friend, while we are playing, we are those type of slow players that go blindly and take their time playing the game, and we went through the content of the game really fast. The potential is immense, but there is also some groundwork that has to be done. More content on what already exists is obvious, and that means adding more monsters, more attacks, traits, passives, and different types of rooms for the roguelike content, more bosses, environments, and items. All of that is the obvious route, but the key might lie on the features that are not yet added. I know that a game far down the road like Aethermancer currently is might probably have a lot of the ideas already set in stone, but I think it doesn't hurt to just spitball some ideas for features that are yet to see or to be announced. Also, I'd like to mention that since my last video they have released a lot of quality of life and balancing features, so it might be interesting checking out the game if you had before. Also, tell me in the comments if you already have played this game or not. The first one and most obvious addition I think a lot of people will suggest are the multiplayer battles. So players battling against each other, I don't know if at any point in their runs or if they could just pick different monsters and go maximum level and fight against each other, might be an interesting feature that probably a lot of people will actually enjoy to have in their games. But something maybe outside the box would be to incorporate these multiplayer battles inside the roguelike feature. So imagine when we are picking which type of room you want to go next, maybe one of the room options could be a multiplayer battle, and you go inside, you try to search for another player that is currently at the same act that you are, probably ideally in the same node, and if the game doesn't find any other player, it matches you with a bot, an AI, something that you could fight against. And I think that would be a really cool and amazing feature for this game. You could do it optionally, risk losing your run, but if you win, maybe you get a cool item, a monster, I don't know what could come out of this encounter, but it would be an interesting feature. Another multiplayer idea that I have is for one of the rooms to actually be a monster exchange. So you go inside, there is another player, and you guys see each other monsters, and you can try and trade if any of the monsters interest you. And if it doesn't, maybe you just go on your way, maybe you can earn some gold. But I also thought this could be an interesting multiplayer feature for a roguelike game like this. Another idea that I think would be cool would be a kind of, you know, the Pokédex, where you could see every monster that you have actually captured or actually recorded. Instead of just taking a look at a sprite of the monster, I think it would be cool if we could actually check all of its animations while we are checking the monster information, and we could swap and see them, because they are so beautiful, and I think as you collect them, it would be cool to have all of them in kind of an encyclopedia or something that you could check. And I also know that I hammered on this point on my last video, but I really would enjoy if this game would incorporate the monsters you have with you and with some special secrets on the map. And I know it might be frustrating if you just have, for example, water monsters and there is a secret that requires you to have a fire one, but I have thought about it. When you are selecting the next nodes of random maps that you want to go, maybe you could have an information that this node requires a fire monster to actually unlock its secret, the other one requires a water monster, and the other one an earth monster. That way you would kinda see which one is more important, the room or the secret, right? And that would create another level of dynamic replayability to each run, based on the type of monsters that you are carrying. All told, I love the direction that modern games are taking with this new iteration of Monster Catcher game, and I really think they are hitting the nail with this one. We just have to see what they will do next. There is a roadmap release. I'm excited to see what's coming for the game, and I want to know your guys' opinions about this game too. Are you excited for it? Do you even knew that this game existed, this roguelike monster catcher game? Did you knew about this studio and their games? Tell me in the comments below. I want to see you guys in the next video. And please subscribe if you are new, leave a like for more, leave a dislike if you didn't like the video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you very much, and bye bye.